Hello, I'm Adolfo Moya. We are at the Frutura Technologies Quality of Fruits course, and on the second module, Field Production and Quality. On this fourth and last presentation, we will talk about some different production systems and their effects on fruit quality. Regarding production systems, we will talk first about organic production, then about conventional production and integrated farm management, and finally we will talk about some aspects of how the quality of fruits is affected by these different production systems. Regarding organic production, the United States Department of Agriculture organic regulations describe organic agriculture as the application of a set of cultural, biological and mechanical practices that support the cycling of on-farm resources, promote ecological balance and conserve biodiversity. These include maintaining or enhancing soil and water quality, conserving wetlands, woodlands and wildlife, and avoiding use of synthetic fertilizers, sewage sludge, irrigation and genetic engineering. Organic producers use natural processes and materials when developing farming systems. These contribute to soil, crop and livestock nutrition, pest and weed management, attainment of production goals and conservation of biological diversity. The organic crop production practices try to preserve soil fertility. Organic crop producers build soil quality by adding compost, animal manures or green manures. Organic producers must not apply sewage sludge or biosolids to soil due to the disease risks from pathogens and toxic chemicals. Additionally, organic crop producers use cover crops to protect the soil from wind and water erosion. Soil conserving practices, including the use of cover crops, mulches, conservation tillage, controlled plowing and strip cropping. Regarding seeds and planting stock, organic crop producers use organic seeds and planting stocks to protect the integrity of their crops. Organic growers may use conventionally grown seeds when an equivalent organic variety is not commercially available, but only if the seeds have not been genetically modified or treated with prohibited substances such as fungicides. Regarding crop rotation, it's also used to interrupt insect life cycles, suppress soil-borne plant diseases, prevent soil erosion, and build organic matter, fix nitrogen, and increase farm diversity. To effectively reduce insect and disease level, farmers typically follow one crop with another crop from a different crop family. They wait a number of years before replanting the initial crop. Crop rotation is required by the USDA organic regulations. Also, another aspect is maintaining the identity and integrity of organic crops. Organic crop producers are responsible for preventing contact between organic and conventionally grown crops, as well as contact with prohibited pesticides or fertilizers. Regarding the managing of pests, weeds and diseases, pest management on organic farms relies on the PAMS strategy. That means prevention, avoidance, monitoring and suppression. Prevention and avoidance are the first line of the defense against pests, weeds and diseases. If pest or weed suppression becomes necessary, producers often use mechanical and physical practices, such as releasing predatory insects to reduce pest populations or laying down a thick layer of mulch to smother weeds. As a last resort, producers may work with their organic certifier to use an approved pesticide, such as naturally occurring microorganisms, insecticides, naturally derived from plants, or one of a few approved synthetic substances. Organic production, as defined by the European Union, is the way of producing food that respects natural life cycles. It minimizes the human impact on the environment and operates as naturally as possible, in accordance with objectives and principles including the following. Crops are rotated so that on-site resources are used efficiently. Chemical pesticides, synthetic fertilizers, antibiotics, and other substances are severely restricted. Genetically modified organisms are banned. On-site resources are put to good use, such as manure for fertilizer or feed produced on the farm. Disease-resistant plant and animal species adapted to the local environment are used. Livestock are raised in a free-range, open-air environment and are fed on organic fodder. And finally, animal husbandry practices are tailored to the various livestock species. There are several logos for certifying organic production. There you can see the European logo for organic production and the USDA logo, but also other different logos coming from other countries, from Germany, France, and in Spain, that organic production has different logos for each one of the regions. Regarding conventional production, first we will talk about its effects on environment. And on the European Union, there have been some rules published for the sustainable use of pesticides to reduce the risk and impacts of pesticide use on people's health and the environment. These limitations are introduced by the Directive 2009/128/EC. And this directive establishes a framework for community action to achieve the sustainable use of pesticides. This sustainable use lays on three pillars. One is to promote these strategies to reduce and to optimize the use of plant protection products by promoting integrated pest management. The second pillar is limit the improper use of plant protection products by training of users, and the third pillar is maximize treatment efficacy and limit environmental contamination risk by improving spraying equipment. Regarding to the consumer, the European Union established the maximum residue levels. Maximum residue levels is the highest level of a pesticide residue that is legally tolerated in or on food or feed when pesticides are applied correctly. There are some key points about those maximum residue levels that the maximum amount of residues found in food must be safe for consumers and must be as low as possible. A second one, that is the European Commission fixes these maximum residue levels for all food and animal feed, and that the maximum residue levels for all crops and all pesticides can be found in the maximum residual levels database on the Commission website. Well, integrated farm management is an approach that tries to perform an integrated pest management, reducing then the impact on environment and human health. And it has to be said that in the future, farmers will no longer have access to the entire range of pesticides they use today, and they will have to adopt this integrated farm management approach, incorporating alternative approaches or techniques to reduce their dependency on pesticide use. Most European countries are already investing in research and extension to face this challenge, reduce reliance on pesticides, and reduce risks associated with their use. In Spain, the integrated farm management approach is regulated by the Real Decreto 1201/2002, published on the 20th of November of 2002. And a recent publication derived from Coordinated Integrated Pest Management in Europe, that is a European Union research project, concludes that the existing gap between the market offers of biocontrol solutions and the demand of growers, the lengthy and expensive registration process for biocontrol solutions, and their varying effectiveness due to variable climatic conditions and site-specific factors across Europe are key obstacles hindering the development and adoption of biocontrol solutions in Europe. The authors also propose a common European framework on biocontrol research and innovation. Then, conventional production will lead to integrated farm management. On integrated farm management, the combination of integrated pest management, soil conservation practices, and basically the extent of the common sense to all the agricultural practices will lead to a scenario where conventional production will be very close to integrated farm management. And integrated farm management will then integrate pest management with sustainable farming practices which protect and improve biodiversity and reduce the reliance on synthetic fertilizers, allowing a more climate-friendly farming approach. Regarding the quality of fruit that depends on these production systems, it has to be said that organoleptic quality is often partially affected when the integrated pest management approach is used, because there must be a threshold that supposes a certain tolerance of damage to the fruit. This has to be accepted by the consumers. Regarding the perceived quality, those other alternative production methods are based on the add value that for the consumer suppose the social responsibility. Social responsibility is an ethical framework and suggests that an entity, be it an organization or individual, has an obligation to act for the benefit of society at large. Corporate social responsibility can be defined as the continuing commitment by business to behave ethically and contribute to economic development while improving the quality of life of the workforce and their families, as well as the local community and society at large. Quality in the broad sense refers to the satisfaction of consumer expectations, so that aspects linked to the corporate social responsibility can be positively considered by consumers. There is a standard published by the International Standard Organization that talks about 7 core subjects, and one of those core subjects is, of course, the environmental care. As a summary, we will say that fruit production can be carried out through different systems that respond to consumer demand for socially responsible production systems. While good practices will lead to a safe product for the consumers, independently from the production system followed, the IPM approach balances between fruit damage and control action, establishing thresholds, and therefore some suboptimal quality features should be assumed by consumers. Corporate social responsibility features considered by organic and integrated productions could influence customer satisfaction. Thank you for attending this last presentation of the module. I hope that it has resulted interesting for you.